times a week. At lunch, maybe 5 or 6 of my friends get together and we meet up at Eden Rock Dive Shop and we swim for a mile. We change right on the deck. Often we're down there with tourists from the cruise ships and they're like, hey, what are you guys doing? Oh, we're swimming on our lunch. Oh, awesome, that's so cool. I wish I could do that. So it kind of gives us a buzz when we get back to work and it keeps us refreshed in the afternoon.
Organized open water swimming competitions, better known as sea swims, have been around in Cayman for more than 4 decades. But even before sea swims became popular, residents often swam in the ocean. With no public swimming pools here in the 1970s, even school meets were held in the sea.
I used to do a lot of swimming, especially spear fishing. My mother used to love fish, so I used to do a lot of shooting fish at Smith Cove. So I do a lot of spear fishing, which involved a lot of snorkeling. And we used to swim from kids.
As a kid growing up, you know, this is before the marine conservation law, I spent a lot of time in the water spearfishing for hours on end. Had real good lung capacity, strong legs. So swimming was always my strongest event, just naturally without any training. I first started getting involved in sea swims, races for children off the beach. This is for elementary school children. And they were really quite sporadic. And there was really a big gap until local triathlons that were set up. And I think swimming really evolved from the triathlon events.
In 1980, the Pirates Week 5K Sea Swim was founded, an event that still occurs today. However, the triathlon enthusiasts at the time wanted a swim shorter than 3 miles.
Well, the early triathlons, I think, were held off the beach just as they are now, but they were not the Olympic distance, they were longer. I think the swim was 1 mile long. I kept saying, hey, you know, we got these triathlons, the swim element of the triathlon is much shorter than 3 miles, so we should have some official swim events, swim races off the beach that are shorter than that, you know, like how about half mile, 1 mile. So I was a teenager then, and I sort of rallied my parents to help me get this thing organized, and went from there. I was instrumental in getting the first 1 mile swim done, and you know, that was such a popular event almost from the get-go that it just went from strength to strength. People always wanted to sponsor it, and you know, now we have Frankie Flowers making it a worldwide event.
The first year of the 1 mile sea swim, Peter Stafford's parents, John and Ann, sponsored the event. After that, the Lobster Pot restaurant took over the sponsorship for many years. Eventually, Frank Flowers Sr. and the Flowers Group of businesses took over the sponsorship of the race, and it became Cayman's iconic sea swim.
The Flowers Sea Swim, the 1 mile was actually the Lobster Pot 1 mile. And I remember I used to organize swimming when Lobster Pot decided that they was not going to sponsor it no more. I spoke to Frankie, and Frankie decided to pick up the 1 mile and turn it into Flowers 1 mile.
The Flowers Sea Swim started in 1992. It was an amalgamation of the Lobster Pot Mile and the Cayman Airways Half Mile, because at the time neither swim was really thriving, and the numbers were quite low. And my dad, Frank, who was originally a marathon runner, was injured, and he decided he wanted to start competitive swimming, and he has to do everything bigger and better than ever. And so he decided he was going to not only swim, but he was going to host his own sea swim, and thus the Flowers Sea Swim was born.
The Flowers Sea Swim, that was my first introduction to competitive open water swimming in the Cayman Islands, and the race just blew me away. I mean, not just the race, but the whole experience of swimming in the Cayman Islands waters with the conditions that we have, the organization of the event, just the general vibe of how much fun it is to be a part of open water swimming here, not just in the water, but hanging out with fellow swim enthusiasts on the shore.
I really started getting involved in terms of the coordination of it in 2005, so right after Hurricane Ivan. And obviously Cayman was quite devastated. You know, we had the big storm in '04, and we decided for the first time that we were going to introduce a bigger charity element to the Flowers 1 Mile Sea Swim. So we actually called it the Recovery Mile that year, and all of the proceeds went to charity. It went to helping 3 needy families live free for a year, which was a great cause. They were post-Ivan ravaged families, and we were so excited to be involved, and it was such a hit and so popular. We felt so good about helping people that we decided from there on then, every year the registration proceeds from the Flowers Mile would be donated to a worthy local charity. We actually started out way back when, almost 22 years ago, with only 60 swimmers. Last year we had well over 900 registered, so it's definitely expanded throughout the years. I remember when I kind of got on board, we were stuck at like 400, 450, and no one thought we could ever break 500. And the year that we broke 500, it was just like the biggest celebration. We were so excited, and now we're like turning people back at 900. And so it's definitely grown a lot from seed to seed throughout the years.
The Cayman Islands Amateur Swimming Association, better known as CIASA, established a number of other annual sea swims, and businesses like Foster's Food Fair, Butterfield Bank, CUC, and Lime have sponsored these popular events for many years.
The Cayman Islands Amateur Swimming Association runs about 8 open water sea swims a year, varying lengths. We've got 6 800-meter swims, I believe, and a 1 mile. And this year, we've actually had a 5K and a 10K, and then the Pirates Week 5K, which we've just finished. And I try and do every single one of them.
In 2002, an unexpected opportunity came CIASA's way, and it helped put the Cayman Islands on the international open water swimming map.
I was introduced to the Cayman Islands back right after 9/11 in the United States. We'd picked a world championship team. World championships were supposed to be in Egypt. Our State Department said at that time, no, you can't go. Here I have a team that I've picked and no place to go. We heard about the Pirate Swim, contacted the people down here. They were very, very gracious. We brought the team in. They had a wonderful time. Very few complaints. The big complaints was that the water was too nice and they wanted to chase the fish.
In 2002, the World Championship team from America came over here, and they said it was the hardest swim they ever went. I said, how could it be so hard? It's beautiful. He says, well, you're swimming along, you see a stingray, you see a turtle, and you forget you're in a race. And in fact, the male swimmer that swam all the way down 2.5 kilometers had a stingray swimming underneath him the whole way. He said it was the most amazing swim he ever did.
The first and foremost thing that differentiates the Cayman Islands is the clear water. It's just absolutely beautiful to swim down here and to swim with the wildlife. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we're open water swimmers is to be a part of nature, and that's what you really get to see when you're down here. During the race, we were swimming over top of sea turtles, and it was incredible. It got kind of distracting though, because I wanted to go down and try and play with them, but I had to remember I was in a race.
Since 2002, many more elite international swimmers have come to the Cayman Islands to participate in open water swimming events. However, the sea swims attract people of all ages and skill levels.
Because we're hooked with FINA, we get a lot of high-profile exposure and are able to let the international swim community know what we have here in the Cayman Islands in terms of open water swimming. We've got the administration and the safety down pat, and so people are comfortable swimming in the ocean with a SIASA organized swim. And as well, because of our contacts with FINA, we've been able to bring down international swimmers like we had in today's race.
When the sort of elite athletes and the Olympians started getting involved, that was a little bit more recent. I would say about 10 years ago. My dad, Frank, who kind of is Mr. Flowers Sea Swim, decided that he wanted to get more elite athletes coming in for swimming in the Cayman Islands. He felt that it was good for the island, it was great for sports tourism, and more importantly, it was great for the community. He had a coach that he really liked, Dave Kalsheimer, and he used to say that, you know, even the Olympic swimmers put on their swimsuit one leg at a time, just like you. And it sort of made our younger athletes in Cayman realize that all these guys who have gold medals, they're all human. They get up in practice just like we do. They get up and train. And so he wanted to show them that they could swim in the water with these guys and actually meet them and be inspired and encouraged by them.
I didn't know who Frank Flowers was. He's, from what I hear, and from what I know now, very big down here in the Cayman Islands. So it was wonderful when I got an email from him asking me to come down. It was, as soon as he said Cayman Islands, I said yes.
The Flowers Sea Swim, to me, is one of the greatest races around. When you have 900 swimmers that are swimming, and I look at it from a lot of different aspects, safety being the number one. And I felt that that race with 900 swimmers was so safe, just because of the way of the beach marshals, the people on jet skis, paddle boards, everything out there, and it was fantastic. And I think the big thing to remember is you have an elite group that is swimming, but your last wave is made up with just recreational people that are having a wonderful time.
One of the things we really love about the Flowers Sea Swim, we like to say it appeals to people from all strokes of life. So you can be a super Olympic swimmer and have a great time at the event, or you can be an 8-year-old who's coming out for the first time to swim. We really encourage people who are all skill levels, all different, you know, backgrounds. Last year we had over 1,000 spectators as well. So it's really cool because it invites people from all aspects of the community to come out, and we really encourage that. And what's cool also is we have an event called the Walk and Watch. So for people who can't quite swim a mile or just aren't comfortable in the ocean, they can actually donate to charity. They get a shirt and they walk and watch the Flowers Mile. So we're trying to be as inclusive as possible with it.
The former national swimming coach, Dave Kalsheimer, played a key role in the development of swimming in the Cayman Islands. Although he wasn't initially keen on open water swimming, he eventually encouraged his swimmers to take advantage of the great sea conditions in the Cayman Islands and the opportunities that those conditions afford them.
Well, Dave Kalsheimer was a key factor in the development of Cayman swimming on an international scale. Our kids, he made them train as hard as kids anywhere else and hold that kind of pride that even if they didn't achieve the same results because they were young, they had trained as hard and they could hold their head up high at international standards, and pretty soon they were challenging those other people, and it was pretty exciting. He took Sean Fraser and Caitlin Elphinstone to the FINA World Open Water, the very first event in Hawaii.
It was myself and Sean Fraser, who was from Cayman, and we were the youngest competitors. I think we were like 13 at the time. So basically you had to go out through the reef, and then the buoys were all marked in the deep ocean. But through the reef, there were so many surfers everywhere. You had to kind of dodge the surfers, not to mention the waves that were coming at you full force. So that was a lot of a challenge that we weren't expecting. Training in the Cayman Islands where it's crystal clear and super flat, no currents at all.
It's a blessing and a curse. Obviously the blessing is that your water is so gorgeous. What you think of as rough water is not rough water when you compare it to Hawaii and some of the other places we've been. The curse is that the water is so nice for your swimmers that when they go to someplace else, it's not quite as good.
I think the first race was awful. We probably came last place. And then the second race, once we did it again, we competed in age group and then with adults as well. When we did the second race, it was much better because we knew what to expect.
Caitlin Elphinstone would go on to become the Cayman Islands' most accomplished long-distance open water swimmer in the mid-2000s.
The biggest competition was probably the Pan Am Games, where I was third or won bronze in the 5K and won 4th place in the 10K.
Today, many of Cayman's young swimmers are getting training in open water swimming, including the members of the Cayman Bay Aquatic Club, better known as CBAC.
In the Cayman Bay Aquatic Club, we take the swimmers to the open water out on the beach at least once every 2 weeks for the older age groups. It's great conditions for open water swimming, so we want it to be a well-rounded program for the kids.
I think both of the trainings kind of play off each other a little bit. I think the swimmers in the pool obviously get a bit more opportunity to push off the wall, feel a little speed, but in the sea they get to get in a rhythm. There's a little more strategy sometimes. I think obviously it's a lifelong activity that they can be doing, and when you see the open water swims, there's swimmers of all ages, and so I think that offers a lot to them as well.
I love the fact that we're not stuck in a pool. We're not just going up and down. We can actually swim, and we're so lucky to be here on this island and have beaches like this, so it's nice to enjoy.
In addition to training, CBAC offers an open water race series that is intended to introduce sea swims to participants.
The open water series, the CBAC open water series that we started, we wanted it to be for everyone. It's sort of intimidating for that first race to be 800 meters, which was the only offering in the sea swim season. So we wanted to build people up to that and kind of said we'll start with a 400 meter, and we do three races in the series, so 400 meter, 600 meter, and 800 meter, about 2 or 3 weeks apart from each other. So people can build up to do that 800 meter sea swim season over the summer, and then even the flower sea swim.
CBAC also offers sea swims geared for young children.
The Lollipop Dash is where the younger kids get a chance to swim shorter distances like the 200 and the 400, and when they get to the end they get a lollipop, so it's kind of fun for them and exciting.
The younger kids might see the older kids, maybe their brothers and sisters swimming, and see them swimming the sea swims, and they're like, oh, I would like to do that too. And I think the Lollipop Dash is a good starter for them, so then later on they can get used to swimming the longer distances.
Open water swimming in the Cayman Islands isn't only about races. Many people swim in the sea regularly for recreation and exercise.
The one good thing about living in the Cayman Islands is that you're never too far away from the ocean, and the pool's always open. I normally swim during the middle of the week down at Eden Rock, which is just south of Georgetown, 3 times a week at lunch, and about a month ago we ran into a manta ray swimming down the shore with about a 5-foot wingspan, which absolutely blew us away. It was an unbelievable experience.
To help residents and visitors learn about the various sea swims they can do on their own, CIASA has put together an open water swim map of Grand Cayman.
I knew there was this group of people who had done an around the island swim in segments, organized originally by Kate Alexander. Richard Moody did the kayaking, and he helped do a lot of mapping. And it just sounded like such a great, fun, adventurous thing to do for people who enjoy swimming.
A lot of people like to go out in open water, but they don't really know where to swim. And also tourists coming down like to swim in the sea. As you can see, it's one of the best places to swim. So in trying to do that, we're trying to show people where there are routes they can do and what the distances are. Because if you go over to West Bay Dock there and you swim this way, you've no idea how far it is. But West Bay Dock down to Royal Palms is about 5K. So it's giving them an idea of the distance they're going to do, whether they can do it or not. And if they say, oh, 5K is what I want, that's what we can do, so they'll swim that length.
We just want information out there, so if somebody Googles open water swimming Cayman, this will come up and we can share it, and it's on the Swim Association website.
Open water swimming, even just for recreation, offers many benefits to people who do it.
There's something therapeutic about it. I mean, obviously there's a fitness level, and as one gets older, I'm in my 50s now, and the joints start going. Swimming is obviously the best exercise in the world in terms of impact. When you're swimming in the water, you often get like a runner's high. It's a swimmer's high, and your brain just goes off into la-la land. You kind of lose all the stress that, particularly if that's one of the benefits of swimming in the middle of the week at lunch is I could have had a horrible morning and want to shoot myself, and then I go for an open water swim, and I come out of the water feeling like a new person.
It's fantastic stress relief. I'm quite a creative person. It just lets me free associate. If things are troubling me, I can blow off steam, just crank up the notch, and I get my mind off whatever's worrying me. It's just an awesome sport.
I like swimming because it's a way for exercise for me, and also I enjoy competing. I started 33 years, I'm 61 now. I have never had injuries from swimming. Most people that actually in other sports is lay up because of injuries and stuff.
I had to swim with competitors from different countries, Jamaica and the US. I meet a lot of friends and get along with all the swim teams from the different countries. First went to Jamaica for Curita, and China and Puerto Rico and Ireland.
One of the things that attracted me to open water swimming here was the people that do these swims, because I think swimming in the ocean, I don't know if it makes you a positive person or if positive people are just attracted to swimming in the ocean, but whatever the reason, normally the people that swim are fun to hang around with, low stress people, into fitness, and obviously enjoying exercise and beautiful environment here in Cayman.
The popularity of open water swimming is making it a growing force on an international level.
I think open water swimming as a competitive sport is going to continue to grow. First of all, we have, FINA has 201 federations. Not all of those have the pool swimming support and facilities, but certainly a majority of them have ocean water that they can end up training in. So I think you're going to see that the sport continue to grow. Realize the first 3 modern Olympics were all contested in open water swimming. So it's kind of come back around.
In 2013, the Flowers Sea Swim added 2 new long-distance open water swimming races to help attract international competitors.
At the Flower Sea Swim, we're always trying to go bigger and better, and this year my dad, Frank, decided that he wanted to extend the distance. A lot of people can swim a mile, but a lot less people can swim a 5K, so he wanted to add something a little bit more competitive for those swimmers, especially internationally, who have flown down for the event. Sometimes, they only swim a mile. They feel like, we want more, we want more. So what we're starting to do now is do almost like a Flower Sea Swim weekend. So on the Saturday, we have the Flower Sea Swim, and then on the holiday Monday in June, we're also going to be hosting the Flowers International 5K and a 10K, which was incredible this year. We got really good attendance, and we're building that event, and we're going to make it bigger and better than ever.
Bringing down the UANA open water, I mean, all of this costs money, but the UANA's been pushing us to have their championship here. The World Juniors, they'd love to have it down here. The World Open now is with the World Championship, so that's no longer available, but the World Juniors is. We'd like to see more tourism to bring it down, but particularly in the 5K, 10K, over the Flower Sea Swim, the Masters love to swim. In Italy, during the World Championships, the Masters, 13,000 swimmers turned up. Those are the people we're trying to attract. They're wealthy individuals that love to swim, but they don't want to do just one swim. So we got a 1 mile with the richest 1 mile in the world with $100,000 worth of prizes, and then the 5K or a 10K they can do against Olympians.
When we look at the first step for our swimmers here, I guess competing at a high level is making Carifta Games as an open water swimmer. At the last Sea Swim we had numerous 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds compete, and that's a great sign. If they have all those swims under their belt by the time that they're 11 and 12, they're going to be in a really good position to be very strong, and I think that that's a new direction for swimming here, and specifically with this club to have so many young swimmers competing in those sea swims.
I think your Cayman Island swimmers are doing very well. The big thing for them is to get some international competition. I think the other thing you have is you have some great officials here that need to get on that FINA list to move on up. So I personally would love to see you qualify people for the Pan Ams, and then also send some officials that are going to get some international officiating experience along with that.
I fully believe Cayman should be the center of the universe for open water swimming, competition and training. We have the best conditions. Even when we have a storm 3 days later, it's calm and clear. If I was a swimmer training for an open water event that was going to be in warm water, and I had any choice in the matter, I would want to come to Cayman and train.
Last year, we got Jessica Long, who was a Paralympian in London, and she was like so amazing. I think she won over 10 medals, and it was just incredible. And my brother Frankie Jr. was like, he was at the Olympics at the time, and he was like, this girl is amazing. Do you think we could get her? And my dad was like, of course we can get her. And he literally just called her agent, and lo and behold, she was here. You know, it's pretty incredible that he has that sort of passion to be able to do that.
In Canada, I remember diving in and going, I can't breathe, because it was so cold. And also I found when I was swimming in Canada, I was terrified of what was in the water, because it's murky water and you can't see what's down there, and there's all this like seaweed coming up. So that was interesting.
We actually started our swim from the dock, Georgetown dock, and we finished at where the Westin is now. And I remember washing my goggles with dish liquid, and a little bit that was left in the foam, which seals your eye. And as we started, a drip drop in my eye, and my eyes started burning. I actually swam 3 miles with my eye on fire. Wouldn't stop. That's where determination comes in, okay? And I finished the swim 3 miles. I think I came 3rd place. And I jumped in my car and went straight to the hospital, and I wear a patch for 1 week after because of the liquid that got in my eye.